police presence here. We have Philadelphia Police, state troopers, so many law enforcement partners in this, all investigating massive crater that was created because of that plane crash. You can see the police presence here. We have Philadelphia Police, state troopers, so many law enforcement partners in this, all investigating this. Take a look at the Ring video we've been showing you all morning and last night too, of that plane falling out of the sky at Cottman in the Boulevard, coming from the Northeast Airport. The impact causing this, that massive fireball is what it looked like and what it was really, and the devastation that followed that, just so shocking to see in such a densely populated area of Philadelphia. Just to rehash, it happened between 6 and 6:30 last night. A medical transport plane with 6 people on board, including a child, a patient who was here to get treatment, her mother, and 4 crew members. A Learjet 55 that had just left the Northeast Airport, according to authorities. It was on its way to Springfield Branson National Airport in Missouri. It was a medical rescue plane, and I want to show you now what we found here on the scene. We're about a quarter mile away on Cottman and the Boulevard from where that crash happened, and you can see this cylinder. It appears to look like some sort of oxygen tank. This was a piece of the plane that flew a quarter mile away. I was talking to investigators about this because, of course, the guidance we're giving is call 911, don't touch debris. They're aware of that piece there, and they said there's actually another tank a little bit closer to the scene from where we are too. So the pieces of this plane flying everywhere, including, and we have surveillance video of this just obtained this morning, a piece of that plane flying into Four Seasons Diner. This is a restaurant near us, so again, about a quarter mile away. It flew in through the window and it hit a man in the head. I am told he is doing okay. We spoke with workers about that horrific scene this morning.
People also was sitting here. Nothing happened. This guy is here, but the guy, not second booth, hit his head.
How's he doing?
He was okay, but I mean, he was bleeding. A lot of bleeding on his head.
Just a shocking incident to happen in that restaurant, and get a quarter mile away from the scene, so you really see just how far the impact of this plane crash was, how far that debris was flying. That impact we're still learning more about. We're not going to know the full scope of it for hours and maybe even days now, but we do know at this point that 6 people who were on board that medical plane are not believed to have survived, and we are waiting to hear more about potential other injuries as well as soon as authorities are ready to speak to us here on the scene. Live in Northeast Philadelphia, Becca Hendrickson, Channel 6 Action News. Maggie and Caroline.
That really puts explosion. A large fire burned in the wake of the crash, prompting a significant response from emergency crews. Vehicles in this area could be seen on fire. Police said multiple people on the ground were hurt, and we spoke with witnesses who detailed what exactly they saw in the aftermath.
There was a fireball, there was debris everywhere, there was people running back and forth, there was so much stuff that happened at once.
And it was just very graphic.
There is no word at this time on what caused the jet to go down. Right now, we do know that there are multiple investigations underway. The NTSB will have boots on the ground today to determine the exact cause of the crash.
Sources that the victim is indeed the older brother of Too Short. Now, at this point, no arrests have been made, and police say that the victim was trying to protect a marijuana grow operation. Numerous sources tell KTVU the older brother of rapper Too Short was shot and killed Wednesday morning during a botched robbery and a marijuana grow operation. 61-year-old Wayne Shaw was shot at about 7 on 49th Avenue near East 12th Street. KTVU has learned Shaw was running the marijuana grow and sleeping at the warehouse when robbers used a car to ram the building. Evidence markers and shell casings litter the sidewalk in front of the warehouse and in the middle of 49th Avenue. This Honda Civic on the median at 50th and International around the corner was riddled with gunfire and connected to the case. The owner tells me his car was stolen overnight from North Oakland.
Honestly, just shocked. I don't know how to honestly process that. I mean, I know who Too Short is. I'm like, I would say I'm a loose fan, not like a huge fan, but I am aware of Too Short.
Too Short, whose given name is Todd Anthony Shaw, is known as the godfather of Bay Area hip-hop. In 2022, Foothill Boulevard between High Street and 47th Avenue in Oakland was renamed Too Short Way in his honor. His brother, who died, was older by 3 years.
I only hear like pa 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 pa, and it's scary.
We ran into this man, whose voice may be familiar to those who follow him on social media.
Oakland, California, donde la vida no vale nada.
The man, who posts anonymously, has an office near the crime scene. Part of his trademark phrase in Spanish translates to "where life is worth nothing."
I mean, this is how it is right now in Oakland because nobody, it's hard. Like nobody want to work, and the city left us.
Kentucky Blunt now delivers cannabis after shutting down his Blunts and More dispensary in East Oakland, in part because of repeated burglaries.
We're trying to conduct regular, normal business, and we have to be protected like we're a bank.
Blunt's been working with other marijuana purveyors on ways to improve safety.
Any person life taken should be amplified. You know what I mean? It just sucks that if this is the truth, it happens to be Todd's brother, which is super unfortunate.
Now, I have reached out to Too Short, but I have not heard back. Oakland police are asking anyone with information or video evidence to give them a call. Live in Oakland, Henry Lee, KTVU, Fox 2.
Yeah, let's hope.
Man on the top 10 most wanted FBI list arrested and cuffed right here in Central Florida. It all started with a routine traffic stop, but quickly ended a years-long search for this alleged child predator.
His name is Donald Fields II. He was arrested in Lake County yesterday. He was put on the most wanted list back in May of 2023 for child sex trafficking charges. And Fox 35's Kelsey Cairns is live in Lady Lake tonight with that source. So Kelsey, you spoke to the officer about this arrest. How'd this all go down?
Yes, that's exactly right. John and Luann, this Lady Lake police officer was acting on instinct when she pulled over Donald Fields Saturday morning. Well, she didn't know who she was pulling over initially, and it was his fraudulent sticker on his vehicle that initially tipped her off about this.
Put your hands behind your back. Put your hands behind your back.
That's a top 10 most wanted fugitive by the FBI getting cuffed by Lady Lake police officers.
It was a little eye-opening to me that we have people like that riding around all over on our streets, especially here in Lady Lake. All right, hands up.
Lady Lake Police Sergeant Michelle Bilbrey is credited with tracking down 60-year-old Donald Eugene Fields II. Fields has headlined the top 10 list for almost 2 years now. The feds have been looking for him in connection with child sex crimes.
Children from Florida to Missouri and beyond are safer today thanks to the diligence and brave actions of these officers.
Sergeant Bilbrey's attention to detail is what got Fields off the streets. Lady Lake police say she noticed something off about a vehicle on Saturday morning that was driving near US 27 and Rolling Acres Road. The vehicle didn't match the description associated with its tag, and police say the sticker for his registration date was fraudulent.
Sir, I asked you that earlier if you had any weapons in the vehicle. You told me no, and now you said I could have a gun. I don't know. Sam, you get back in.
That wasn't the only fake thing investigators say he tried to get away with. Fields allegedly handed over a driver's license linked to someone 10 years younger, but that didn't fool Sergeant Bilbrey.
We continue to call him by the false name that he provided because we didn't want to alert him that we were really on to what his true identity was.
During the traffic stop, officers discovered Fields was wanted on charges related to child sex abuse and rape out of Missouri. Over time, investigators say he made changes to his physical appearance to conceal his identity. This tattoo and his fingerprint helped investigators ID him.
How was he able to stay in Florida as long as he did?
He'd been pretty transitory throughout Florida and maybe even back and forth to some degree, but they thought there was a potential he'd been in this area.
And also in that truck, from what we showed you in that body cam video, officers were able to recover a gun as well. Now, Fields is going to appear before a federal judge here in Florida before he's extradited back to Missouri. Reporting live in Lake County tonight, I'm Kelsey Cairns, Fox 35 News.
Count one. Excuse me. Count one, which is felony murder. Predicate act is aggravated assault. I sentence you to life without the possibility of parole. Count two, which is violation of Street Gang Terrorism and Prevention Act. I sentence you to 20 years consecutive to count one. Count three, violation of Street Gang and Terrorism and Prevention Act, I sentence you to 20 years consecutive to count 2. Count 10, hijacking motor vehicle. I sentence you to 20 years consecutive to count 3. Count 11, violation of Street Gang, Terrorism and Prevention Act. I sentence you to 20 years consecutive to count 10. Count 12, violation of Street Gang, Terrorism and Prevention Act. I sentence you to 20 years consecutive to count 11. Possession of a firearm during the commission of a felony. I sentence you to 5 years consecutive to count 12. Count 14, violation of Street Gang, Terrorism and Prevention Act. I sentence you to 20 years consecutive to count 13. Count 15, which is a violation of Street Gang, Terrorism and Prevention Act. I sentence you to 20 years consecutive to count 14. Mr. Collins, you have now been convicted of 15 felonies, but sentenced to 9 because 6 of them, by operation of law, either merge into the others or are vacated. I need to inform you, you have the right to seek post-judgment relief from your felony convictions by either filing a direct appeal to a higher appellate court or to file a motion for new trial. You have 30 days from the date I sign your sentence, which should be today or tomorrow, new trial to any or all of the felony charges. Mr. Clegg, are you going to file a motion for new trial and a notice of appeal? Like requested, I will be appointing you an appellate lawyer. Your appellate attorney will explain these processes, but I wanted you to be aware of the time frames. Anything else, Mr. Clegg?
No.
Okay, Mr. Collins can go with the deputies. Whoa. The family of Mr. Coleman. The family of Mr. Coleman. The family of Mr. Coleman. Look at me. The family of Mr. Coleman. Honor Bradley Coleman here. Honor Bradley Coleman. He is never coming back. Nothing that happens in this courtroom is going to bring Bradley Coleman back.
New at 11, a man arrested after police say he ran over a baby on Jacksonville's west side. Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Riley Phillips. The Jacksonville Sheriff's Office says 20-year-old Justin Golden placed an 8-month-old in the road while stopped at the intersection of McDuff and Lenox Avenue, then hit the child while driving away. Our Zach Wilcox joins us live now from that intersection. And Zach, several people saw this all happen.
Yeah, Riley, you can see that there are businesses around here, and it's right off of I-10, and you basically explained what happened here. According to police, they just stopped at this intersection. There was some sort of fight going on inside of the car between the driver and a woman in the passenger seat. The man put the baby on the ground and then ran it over as he left this intersection. We talked with the owner of a barbershop here who caught the tail end of this, who mentioned to us he cannot imagine what kind of fight could have been going on inside of that car that would have resulted in this kind of reaction.
I had a customer that was out front, and she kind of witnessed the tail end of it, and based on her, excitement or scream, was able to go outside.
Markin Barnes couldn't believe what he saw next when he walked out of his barbershop show off cuts.
And see, the young lady standing to the right was on the curb, holding the baby that was bleeding, and we asked her was she okay, but the firefighters and the ambulance was on its way. And my customer pulled to the back. She was kind of distorted, so I went back and talked to her.
The Jacksonville Sheriff's Office says 20-year-old Justin Golden was arguing with a woman in the passenger seat while driving a car when he approached the intersection of McDuff and Lenox Avenues. They say he opened the door, put an 8-month-old baby on the ground, and ran it over.
First responders took the baby to the hospital, but he was pronounced dead.
Now they'll find out the details even worse. Just the screaming, just the people that console her. You could tell they really were tragic, especially with the kid being that young.
JSO investigators found Golden in his car shortly after the incident and took him into custody. Barnes says, as a parent himself, seeing it unfold in front of his shop hits hard.
It hit home, anything dealing with kids and the youth, we take very serious.
And JSO says Golden faces a aggravated manslaughter of a child charge as well as vehicular homicide. On the west side, Zach Wilcox, First Coast News, on your side.
The lives of not one, but 8 local teens forever changed in just minutes. One of them is dead. 7 are now in custody for a very violent attempted armed robbery. And listen, we hear it too. The broken record, more teens committing violent crimes.
And the governor's office hears it as well. Governor Michelle Lujan Grisham held a public safety roundtable earlier this week to talk about that very subject of juvenile crime.
And it turns out it's been on their radar for years, but for the last 8 months, they say they've wanted to track data and trends.
Our Felice Romero joins us now. So, Felice, we're talking about a group of teens who allegedly targeted a couple at a local apartment complex.
Yeah, Trevor, Tessa, this started when 14-year-old named Alonso Sanderson and his 15-year-old friend Jariah Salas were in a car with a group of teens and decided to rob a couple in a Jeep. Now, this is really troubling because the whole thing was a large group of teens ranging from 12 to 17 years old. They were armed and scouting for people to
This apartment complex, police say Alonso Sanderson and Jariah Salas allegedly decided to try and rob a couple in a blue Jeep. Court records show Sanderson pulled up on the passenger side armed with 2 guns, and Salas opened the rear passenger door with another gun.
They actually shoot guns into a car. 3 bullets go into the passenger of that car. The 14-year-old is dead because the driver of that vehicle shot back and shot and killed that 14-year-old. This is too much. Enough is enough.
Police say the driver was trying to protect his wife when he fired his gun, killing 14-year-old Sanderson. He was able to get his wife to the hospital where she was treated for 2 gunshot wounds. All 7 teens are now in custody. Bernalillo County District Attorney Sam Bregman says for some, it wasn't their first run-in with the law.
This is exactly the kind of situation. 4 of these 8 kids have criminal history. And they've already been in the criminal justice system, one of them as young as 10 years old.
Governor Michelle Lujan Grisham says the age of these offenders adds another layer to this complex issue, finding the balance between consequences and rehabilitation.
No detention means we have more juvenile crime. Now we have life in prison when they're 18. Too many consequences, no restoration means that we're creating more criminal behaviors in that soon-to-be-released adult.
Now, when it comes to this case, APD is investigating the death as a justifiable homicide since the husband of the victim was defending his wife and himself during the attempted armed robbery. Tessa, Trevor.